kill somebody, potentially me.
Hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. Before you ask, this is not an episode of My Next Daily. With all the sort of car shopping going on and a big reveal coming this weekend, I wanted to take some time out and just have some fun in a supercar. So a few weeks ago, Mercedes-Benz Edinburgh got in touch. They are the biggest Mercedes-Benz dealership in Scotland. And they said, want to come and play with an AMG GTC? I was like, yeah, sounds like fun. So I woke up at 5 AM this morning, got a flight up to Edinburgh and picked up this car, and I am now somewhere in Scotland. I really couldn't tell you where. To be honest, when I thought about this trip, I was like, oh yeah, it'd be so nice, you know, just take a time out and go and hoon in a convertible supercar on a sunny Scottish road. Sunny's where I got that right. I don't know why I thought sunny. Of course, it was going to be raining, but I'm determined to still try and experience this car in its full extent. So, first things first, let's start up, and you have to hear how outrageously aggro this exhaust is. We're going to get into what all that power is, but the rain is lighter than it was earlier, so whilst I'm not really sure this is a good idea, I am going to attempt to experience, he says, how do you put the roof down? Some roof down driving. Because after all, this is the AMG GTC Roadster. Again, I don't think I'm the only one who's a little bit confused by all of the different models in the AMG range. I'm going to put my heated seat on. I'm going to put the neck, where's my neck scarf? Let's see what this car is all about. As I say, ahead of this trip, I wasn't entirely sure exactly what or which AMG the GTC was. I knew it was the convertible, and I had assumed the C stood for convertible, but it doesn't. It's the AMG Roadster and the GTC variant of the Roadster. So, let me start from the beginning. We have got AMG GT, the base car. I think you can have that in coupe or Roadster. We then have the AMG GTS that Paul Wallace from Supercars of London had, 515 horsepower. At the moment, it's only available as a coupe. Then we have the AMG GTC. It sits above the AMG GTS. I'm actually going to turn that neck scarf off, it's a bit annoying. It sits above the GTS and below the GTR. And that is 550 horsepower, currently only available in Roadster, but coming in coupe. Then you have the AMG GTR. So yeah, a little overkill, possibly. But when you start to get to grips with this, you can, I think, feel the differences over the GTS. I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time in Paul Wallace's car from the passenger seat, but also spend a few days in a GTS coupe in Switzerland. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. This car gets a lot of the GTR trickery. It's got four-wheel steering. It's got the much wider track. So the car feels a lot more sort of aggressive. It feels a lot wider. I'm going to be honest, it feels really super wide up on these little Scottish roads. But, whoa!
This thing would like to spin its rear tyres standing still. If it could, you would put it in park and it would go. It can easily bite your head off, and today, with these kind of conditions, it's not exactly the ideal time to be trying out all 550 horsepower. But it's a weird car, I think, the AMG GT. I've never quite understood it. I think there's something about the fact that there's about 17 variants. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It wants to kill you. The fact that there are about 17 variations of this car that slightly make it a bit, I don't know, beige? Don't get me wrong, the performance, once you get going in this thing, is incredible. And like so many cars these days, it's brilliant at doing this and then cruising. But do you get excited when you see an AMG GT? Do you go, oh? Or has it kind of become a bit of a Porsche 911? Don't get me wrong, when I see a 911, I'm still like, oh, that's cool. But I don't go, oh my God, it's a 911! And with the AMG GT, I'm kind of the same. I'm like, oh yeah. But I'm not like freaking out. Whilst if I saw an R8 V10 Plus kind of in the middle of nowhere, or if I saw, I don't know, McLarens, Ferraris, it gets me more excited. Oh, more pheasants. I mean, guys, I'm filming here. Come on, you want to die? It's like 35 pheasants. Jog on, son. This car will kill somebody, potentially me. Now, apparently you can do the roof up to 30 miles an hour, so let's give that a go. I guarantee the local Scottish people are literally like, what is that southerner doing? Is that a Scottish accent? Probably not. What? Hey up! No, I give up. My confusement, my issues, my lack of lust for the AMG GT range kind of continues. You know, I definitely think the GTC is an improvement, but it was always going to be because it's a better car. As you can see, I was a little bit confused as to how I felt about the AMG GTC, but then suddenly, out of nowhere, the sun came out, and I was able to start playing around with the different driving modes, which is when I found a little switch for Sport Plus, S Plus, a button that transforms this car. Suddenly everything starts to really pull together, and this car feels very, very different to the GTS. As I mentioned, it has taken a lot of the sort of tech from the GTR, and if I'm honest, I'm not really sure what more the GTR is adding apart from the extra 25 brake horsepower and all that traction control wizardry. But as an everyday supercar, now we've got the roof off, there's crackles coming from the exhaust, but it feels so capable. 0 to 60 in this car is 3.7 seconds. If you can ever put the power down to get there. You know, and it's a heavy car with this roof mechanism and all the additional bits and gizmos that have been put on mechanically and comfort-wise, but just that exhaust comes to life in Sport Plus. Oh my God! It is so outrageous how this car can be transformed by the simple flick of a switch. God knows what happens in race. I am not brave enough in today's conditions, considering this is a loan car, to experience it. But Sport Plus is plenty, and suddenly, for me,
the AMG GT feels like a proper supercar. A really exciting, balls to the wall supercar. This car has confused me. I picked it up at the start of the day and I could tell there were some incremental changes over the GTS, but I wasn't exactly blown away. I was just like, oh, it's another AMG GT, and the Scottish sun may have been to blame for that, because once I put the roof down and then once I had the opportunity to get into Sport Plus mode, it transformed and I've really been enjoying it the last like half an hour. As you can see, it's basically clear blue skies now. I've had the roof down, I've had the exhaust on full chatter, and I can't stop driving. I can't stop thrashing it everywhere. I'm starting to understand why people love these cars so much. So a huge thanks to Mercedes-Benz Edinburgh for arranging this whole thing, for inviting me to come up and experience this car. It's given me a lot to think about, because now maybe I kind of like the AMG GT C. Maybe that's the key, C or R. But it's quite nice having the roof down. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.